I don't know how this got past Lego. Hello, and welcome to my Lego Star Wars comparison of the Droideka against the movie material from the Phantom Menace. What did Lego get right? What did Lego get wrong? Let's get into it. The eyes look great here. These are called the non-visual composite radiation sensor antennas. Very long word. And this is the primary sensor antenna. The one thing I do notice between the adaptation of this Lego set and the Droideka is that this gray piece is actually a black cable that looks very similar to the tubing that is used here. So just doing a quick replacement of that piece, if you somehow had a black arm, I think would do the set better justice. So let's just put that on there. And this looks a little bit more like the adaptation. And what is interesting is, let me move this to the side real quick. On the box, they show that piece darker right there. I know you could get away with saying, oh, well, it's in the shadow, but they do make it look black in that photo. But it is a great piece that they actually use. Taking a look at these two antennas, they are represented well. They have good color, but I do notice that the back piece of the antenna is a little bit wider than the front part. I do really like the use of the lipstick piece. That is really creative. However, it comes with the con of that the rod piece behind it is wider. When in Canon, this piece is wider. However, it is represented, so it's not that big of a deal. It even has a little bit of that eye socket piece behind, which I think is pretty neat. Taking a look at the sensor head, that is also done nicely, where it has the straight in the front, and then it comes out here and it has that sharp edge, that sharp angle, which is also in the Canon material, so that is very well represented here. However, in the Canon material, this part of the head also goes out here rather than going back to straight. That would have been a nice thing. That can be a nice thing to modify. It doesn't really break the deal for this overall shaping of the head, because again, that angle here is nice. And the other part to note is that there is a, I want to say like a little narrow bump at the top of the head that I don't see represented here either, but judging on the pieces here used, there's just not enough Lego stud width to have put something right there. Another thing to mention is that there is a long line on the top of the head here, and a sticker just would have been perfect to represent that. You do have a little bit of a line from these pieces here, but that's it needs to be more of a gray long line. Taking a look at the neck, which is the transitionary period from the head to the shell. This piece here, I feel, could have used maybe another hinge piece because it's a lot more rounded in the material. And I think, let me know what you guys think, but I think it would have been interesting if they used some of these bolt looking pieces here, which actually represent holes down here, but could have also been used here, a little bit smaller to represent the bolts that we do see here in the material. The back shell of this plate is a place on the Lego set that I think this set really excels. The shaping, that curved shaping of the spine is really, really nice. It reminds me of a roly-poly, which is exactly what I believe they were going for. I mean, it looks just like it. These holes are also represented on the Droideka. There are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That is accurate, and I really like that they included the hole down the middle. I think this piece could have been a little bit longer, but otherwise it is represented here, so I don't have any qualms much more than that. And the hanging metal pieces, there are in fact 5 on the model, and there are 5 in the material, and they all hang like that, and they all have a little bit of gaps between the metal, and that I'm just very happy to see. Another thing about the back shell plate is on the underside, it has that nice gray interior. And then now taking a look at the upper body, it has the sternum plate in the front. One thing I do notice a difference between the Lego set and the material is that there are 2 round studs in the front, like bolts, and I don't see that on the Lego set. So changing this tile to have one of the ones with the studs, and then either leaving it with the stud or adding a 1x1 round stud, I think would complete the look a little more. Otherwise, not bad. This upper piece that connects to the back shell also is represented, where it has 2 pieces that connect to that top piece right there. And for the lower part of the upper body, it has this overhang from the lower part of the body right here where you can see my fingers are. And that's also to the material, which is great, and it has that little ingot piece in the back there. Let's talk about the arms, because wow, are these fantastic. First thing that we notice is the shoulder pads here protect the Droideka from fires towards it. It even has the hole in the armor right here, which is just great. It has even some of the shaping, that little bit of hexagonal shaping here, which is great. And then it also has the arm extensor struts right here connecting the arms. And this is to help when it is rolling up into a ball. And then it also has the 2 power cables that connect to the arms so that the Droideka can shoot. And here's a fun feature of the Droideka. The arms can move back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, fire, fire, pew, 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 pew. I really, really, really like that. And the attention to detail that is done to represent the blasters is great. First thing we notice is that they are a double blaster, and the cones come out at the end, and they have tips where the bolts can come out. And there's even a slope piece in the very front, a nice little attention to detail. So overall, these are just done great. Taking a look at the spine, I have no complaints about this piece. It looks exactly like the material, where it has these pieces on the ends of the rectangular looking pattern coming down, and then the long piece in the middle. I think that's just a great Lego piece that they used here. I don't think they could have done any better unless they wanted to make a new Lego piece. So this is just, it looks like it, no complaints. Let's talk about the pros first. First, they can swing just like the material. They're on hinges, which is a great attention to detail. And the other thing is that they have holes, just like the material. But then let's get into the cons. The first thing I notice is that it is completely gray on the underside, but there is some brown here. I understand why it is brown, because if they added more gray plates here, then this projector plate would be too thick and it just wouldn't look right. But here is a funny part that I noticed, and I don't know how this got past Lego. 2 holes here, correct. 4 holes here, correct. 4 holes here, that's wrong. I can show you from their own instruction booklet that it's 3. 2 holes there, 4 holes there, 3 holes there. You may say, oh, well, part of the arm's covering this piece. So no, that it is 4. 4 holes there, 3 holes there. How that got past, I do not know. Fortunately, it is an easy fix. All you have to do is just cut off that piece of the sticker, but I don't know why that hole is there. Is this a unique Droideka? I don't know. The bulb shape, the round shape is done pretty well as you can probably do it in Lego form. I mean, they're even using some snot techniques for the slopes on the sides, slopes on the top. No complaints there. And there even is a sloped piece in front, which is represented well in the material. One thing I would have liked to have seen is some metal beams right here. The biggest thing that I don't see represented here is that there is no middle metal piece right in the middle. These 2 slope pieces should be moved a little bit to the side, and then a gray piece down the middle. You can even see it in the instruction manual when you look at the Droidekas. In this scene, you can see that middle metal piece right there where I'm pointing. I don't see that there, and I think that would have been a nice addition to have, but it's not the end of the world for that. Taking a look at the legs, I think the legs are done pretty well. I really like that they included the attention to detail for the hip joints on all of them. They all have that hip joint piece, which is just, I really enjoy. And there even is another part of the joint right here. While it doesn't have that round disc piece here, it looks close enough to a hip joint. It also has the great shaping of going to a narrow point. And despite it going down to a narrow point on the bottom, this thing is very sturdy. It's very hard for it to fall. One thing I would have liked to have seen is then having two rods come down here like the material shows. I think that would have been nice to have. The shaping of the ball looks great. It even rolls just a little bit, and it stays together, which is a great part of it. But the front of the Droideka, this leg piece should actually be in the front, and I can show a quick clip of it, but the piece would be more like here rather than connecting in the back. But I understand it's a design constraint rather than more of a technical fault. I wonder if there's a way to modify this to have it come in the front, because right when it's about to pop up, the leg is catching and then it goes into its standing position. So overall, I think this is a great set. I think there are a lot of similarities to the screen material. I don't think you'd be disappointed with this set. There are some inconsistencies, but the great thing about this is that it is Lego. You can change it. You can take a sticker off. You can change a gray arm for a black arm. You can add some pieces. You can take away some pieces. I don't think it is too much of an issue. I would have liked to see those changes, but it's not the end of the world. I'm very happy with this product. And if you like my content, please think about leaving a like and subscribing, and comment down below what comparison you want to see next. Have a great day.